Reverend Grace is an ordained interfaith minister and graduate of the New Seminary for Interfaith Studies and has been initiated into the sannyasi order in the Hindu tradition in the lineage of her guru. Reverend Telesco is a spiritual director and presiding clergy at the Darshan Center for Spiritual Evolution and is a professor of sociology, social work, and criminal justice. Please send her your love and your light.
Namaste. Energy is just like, whoa. I also noticed that my guitar goes out of tune a lot more often than it ever has before. So many of the psychics in the room that can tell me why that's happening. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding about it going out of tune, it is. I love that chant, and I did that actually as a gift to our Reverend Kevin, because I know it's one of his favorite songs, and I love the translation of it. I love the notion that every cell in our body is dancing with joy. And so then I think about, so then why am I not dancing with joy all the time? If every cell in my body is dancing with the joy of the infinite source, then why do I forget that? Why doesn't that happen all the time throughout the day? And so like if you rewound the tape to about 9:30 today, this morning, or maybe 9 o'clock, I was trying to get some emails done for some students, and I was having some trouble with technology, and I don't know if anybody can relate to that. You know, and this isn't just like a regular email either. It's you have to go into a certain platform, and it's this just, I don't even want to even go into it. I don't even want to relive it. But what I do want to say is that there's a level of frustration in this practical realm that I sometimes often experience. And rather than remember that every cell in my body is dancing with joy from the infinite source, I forget. I lapse into like a spiritual amnesia. And I have a tantrum. Can anybody really, you know, no? I know, only me. Oh, that's why I keep coming back. But anyway, here's the thing what happens to me. It's like a toddler. You know, I don't get my way on something because I have a certain, whether it's I'm focused on an email, or I'm focused on trying to get from this location to that location, or I'm focused on whatever I'm trying to control. Like whatever it is that I'm trying to control and it's not going my way, this is all about ego, by the way. Because in the spirit realm, ego doesn't exist. There is no spirit. I mean, there is no ego in spirit. You know, it's sort of like where spiritual beings having a human experience, the human experience part is all wrapped in our ego. So like a little 2-year-old, if I don't get my way, I have a tantrum. And, you know, I don't have to go into the gory details of what that looks like, but it's not pretty, and I always have to apologize. And I always have to look at my own stuff, and I always have to, like, you know, and I might pout for a while. My pouting is getting less and less, I think, and so that's good news. But I was thinking today and about talking about, you know, whatever the message was going to be today was like, I feel like I need a spiritual timeout. Like a toddler, when a toddler is having a tantrum, and they're having a meltdown, I think that's the new term. We used to call it a tantrum. Now it's a meltdown. It sounds more technological or something. And so we put them in a timeout. We used to call it in my house punishment. You're punished, and it might even involve a little bit of physical correction in my house anyway. But So today it's a little different parenting skills, and we talk about a timeout. So you have a timeout. But the timeout is really it's like a press pause. It's a pressing pause, and it's going back to the remembering place. It's a timeout to go to the breath. It's a timeout to breathe and remember who I am. I love this. I know who I am. Now, when I'm an ego, it's, don't you know who I am? But when it's in spirit, when it's in source, when it's coming from the divine self, the big S self, the higher self, I remember who I am. I'm not this body. I'm not this mind. I'm not this intellect. I am the divine self, the universal stream of life. And so every cell in my body is dancing with joy. I have to do a timeout though. I don't know if you're anything like me. I get caught up in the tantrum of it. I get caught up in the tug of war of it. I wanted it to go this way, it didn't go that way. I wanted it to be this, it wasn't that. Leave me alone, I have to do this email. Like none of that kind of action is coming from the divine self. Because the divine self is compassionate and loving and patient and kind. And the divine self is really content with whatever is. Whatever is unfolding. I want to read something from Swami Jyotirmayananda. He writes, when your mind is still, so spiritual timeout, a mystic window opens in your heart and you become aware of the presence of God. And even the slightest awareness of this divine presence is like a refreshing breeze that blows over the garden of withering trees. And when I'm in my tantrum, when I'm in my meltdown, when I'm in my ego self, I am like a withering tree. I could just feel it, because I know that that's not who I am. As the divine blows, as the divine breeze blows, as this gentle rain of divine grace descends in this entire garden, what happens is it begins to thrive and life flourishes. And so I always bring this up about the, what are they called? Mexican bluebells? We have these beautiful purple flowers. Anybody know what I'm talking about? These purple flowers? I don't know, they kind of look like little cups or something. Anyway, we have them in our front yard, and every day at 3 o'clock they die. I always get like, I wonder, like, do they have anxiety about that? Like, do they know what's coming? 3 o'clock is coming, and do the other flowers that this doesn't happen to are like, yeah, look at you, you're gonna die. Doom on you. But then what happens is, and they die, they just fall and they die. But then the next morning, they all start to come back to life. I was kind of thinking that that's sort of like when I go into that tantrum mode, when I go into that meltdown, that place of forgetting, that place of not remembering the divine self and not remembering who I really am, and thinking I am the ego, I'm kind of like two things. One is I'm in anxiety of, oh no, I'm gonna die. Oh no, I'm not getting my way. And also I'm in the place of like the other plants or flowers that are like, doom on you. I'm in separateness. I'm in a place of forgetting the true nature of self. So that's why I need a time out. That's why I need a spiritual time out. I need a pause, press pause, be still, go within, and recognize the true nature of the self has everything it needs. I've talked here before about that nursery rhyme, The Hole in the Bucket. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. Don't join in. It's the interactive portion. No. Yes, certainly join in. But when I go after what I want, my wants, my needs, this is mine, not yours, my way. When I'm an ego self, I'm craving and clinging after that which is forever changing. And so I'll always be in a place of unhappiness. I'll be in this place of trying to hold on to that which is forever changing. The Buddha said you can't escape this. You can't escape this suffering of life because we crave and cling for that which we can't have. We can have it for a minute, but then we're focused on trying to keep it. We can have it for a minute, but then it starts to lose its flavor. And we go on to the next thing. So those Mexican bluebells are sort of this wonderful metaphor, an analogy of that which is always changing. And yet, the life force remains. So that the ego can die, but the spirit and the life force and the life energy continues on and never goes away. The outward sign of it might fall away, but not the spirit, not the essence. So what I was thinking about, and also reading a lot of New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, phenomenal. I mean, he talks here about attachment to things, and that how do you let go of these attachments? How do you let go of what I want, my way, my plan? I have to do that email today. I had to do it. It was for work. So how do I detach with love? How do I do that? He said, don't even try to detach. It's impossible. Attachment to things drops away by itself when you no longer seek to find yourself in them. In the meantime, just be aware of your attachment to things. So what I'm getting better at is recognizing that when I'm an ego, I don't have to stay there. When I'm an ego, and when I'm attached to an outcome, whatever it is, I hope that it's sunny today. Oh, it rains. Oh, that ruins my day. Right? That my contentment kind of like is dependent upon my outside circumstances. When I remember that, I'm going there and I'm going down that road, spiritual timeout. Be still. Go within. Go to the breath. There's an awareness that I have every once in a while, more often than I used to, of the outer and inner essence of the presence of the divine. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but you can sense it when you're still. You can feel it when you put your hands out. I invite you to do that now. Put your hands out for a minute. Can you feel that? You feel that energy? That's the life force. Anytime you need to do that, you can do a spiritual timeout in the car, at your computer, wherever you are, and just time out. Be still. Feel the presence. Open your heart. Remember who you are. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk, says, when we're mindful and deeply in touch with the present moment, with this now moment, our understanding of who we really are goes deeper. We begin then to be filled with acceptance, joy, peace, and love. So when I chase after the hole in the bucket, I am forever in discontent. And so I want to be like dancing with joy, like my cells are, right? I want to be happy. Don't we all want to be happy? I think that the answer though lies in that we really can't be happy, but we can be free from unhappiness. And that comes in the still moment, in the now moment, in this place of acceptance of what is. Now that doesn't mean that I don't do the email, because I'll get in trouble if I don't. I have to, you know? And I am, by the way, calendar obsessed and schedule obsessed. I have a lot of things going on. I'm very busy. Very, very busy person. So it's very hard for me to take that moment. But when I don't do it, I notice the tantrums increase, the meltdowns increase, and I start to forget who I really am. And I start centering and focusing on ego self. And I keep thinking I'm the ego, that I'm this body, that I'm this mind, that I'm this intellect, that I'm this personality. Keep thinking that that's who I am. Don't you know who I am? All these identities that I have and all these agenda items that I have to take care of. That doesn't mean don't do it. It doesn't mean not to operate in practical reality. But if I can live in the knowing of who I really am, spirit, source energy that has enough, there is enough, there's enough time, there's enough money, it's an abundant universe. And to tap into that source instead of ego. Eckhart Tolle says an essential part of awakening is the recognition of the unawakened you. The ego, as it thinks, speaks, and acts. I said, thank God, because there's an unawakened me. It's an unawakened me. But awareness of that unawakened me is the path to enlightenment. So I'm so glad to know that the awareness of all the areas in my life that need to be polished is actually the essential part of my awakening. So recognizing when I'm judging or recognizing when I'm having a tantrum because I didn't get my way, recognizing that is the key to enlightenment. And then I can be aware that every cell in my body is dancing with joy. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Grace. That was a beautiful lesson, and I'm sure we could all relate in some way. Okay, it is now time for our offering. As today is the last Sunday of the month, please remember we will be collecting donations for our community service project. So the first passing of the offering plate is in support